Welcome to the Not On My Watch podcast, where real-life issues facing the family and the church are addressed with bold and uncompromising truth. It's time to reject the mediocrity of the day, live courageously in the face of danger, and declare, Not On My Watch. Here are your hosts, Jeff and Rochelle Ferguson.
Hey, welcome to the Not On My Watch podcast. We're Jeff and Rochelle Ferguson. So glad that you are joining. Check out our website, www.notonmywatch.co, and get involved. Sign up for our email list and all of that. But hey, we got a new podcast for you.
New podcast. Thanksgiving just finished up last week. Hope everybody had a Thanksgiving. And we are...
Hopefully it wasn't angst-giving.
Hopefully it wasn't Thanksgiving.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, check out the last episode.
Yes, check out that. But we are on our way already, which might cause... I hope it doesn't cause some angst within people, but we are on our way, officially kind of in the Christmas season. Thanksgiving really marks kind of the beginning of the Christmas season, which I'm excited about.
Let's be honest. We've had our tree up for weeks, though, so you can celebrate as long as you want. But that's not the debate we're having on this podcast.
We're not going to have the debate. Is it too early? We're not. You can decide that for yourself. So
that doesn't really fall into the scope of what Not On My Watch talks about. But we really want to talk about how not to lose, or maybe I should say how to keep.
Yes.
How to keep your sanity and your focus this Christmas. We've been in full-time ministry for about 20 years, living life for a little over 40. Mm-hmm. And what I've heard literally, I wish I had like $1 for, like, I can't wait till this season's over. Mm-hmm. This season is so stressful and da-da-da-da-da. And I want to scream from the rooftops, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you can keep your sanity. You can keep your focus. This can actually be a joy-filled season. Yeah. And we want to talk about that today.
And that's our message. I've listened to other podcasts and different things on this very issue, and it seems like it's just a foregone conclusion that family plus holidays equals stress. It's kind of like, well, we just have to deal with it, and we have to manage the stress. But we're different. We're not talking about managing this. We're saying it literally doesn't have to be. You can actually keep your sanity throughout the season.
Keep your focus.
Yes.
Keep what's important, not go crazy, and still enjoy the holiday season, the Christmas, the New Year, the Thanksgiving. And I just want you to live in that freedom too.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I wonder if we get our identity from being stressed. I wonder if we get our identity from all the things. Instead, our identity needs to be coming from Christ.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about, we've got 4 things to avoid. 4 things not to do to keep your sanity, to keep your focus. And I just think they're really important. I just want you to live where this December doesn't have to be like every other December. You don't have to roll into 2024. I was like, what year are we?
What year?
You don't have to roll into 2024 feeling like, man, I just got hit by a Mack truck, or what just happened the last 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Or like getting the credit card bills and going, what in the world? How am I going to do this?
Why did we just do that?
That's what we're really talking about today.
And some may say, why these 4? And I think just simply because these are among the 4 that we've heard the most of.
They're like 4 traps.
4 traps that people get engaged in. And we're saying, hey, let's avoid these traps. So let's go through them and discuss them.
I think that's the deal. If you know a trap is there,
yeah,
like, you know it.
Yes.
It's like knowledge is sort of power in that. Like, if you know, okay, this is a trap, I don't have to fall for it. Like, and then you can set up some things how not to fall into those traps. And I just think it's really, really, really cool. I just think it's cool. I think we can live this way, and there's so much freedom. And I want to say the first one to avoid, and there's a trap set.
Oh, it's huge.
For this. But can I encourage you, maybe you don't need me to give you permission, but maybe you could just take this as permission. Be empowered to avoid overspending this Christmas?
Oh, man. We are conditioned, culturally conditioned, to spend way more than what comes in. And even if we don't spend more than what comes in, to spend really more than we should. Because right even before Thanksgiving, we are bombarded with commercials and ads and Black Friday and all these things. This is what you got to do.
Cyber Monday, all the stuff.
The deals are never going to... And can I just say sometimes, like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the deals really deliver on the promise. Anyway.
I don't know. I love a good deal. Like, if you know me, I love a good deal, but I'm unwilling to overspend. Like,
Yes.
Okay, so here's the deal. This is a research-based podcast. You're going to get sick of us saying that, but like 36% of Americans went into debt to pay for Christmas gifts last year.
35%.
So,
that's a big number.
That is like 1/3 of people are going into debt. They cannot pay for these things that they're purchasing to give for other people. Literally, people are still paying off last year's Christmas.
So if it's like, oh man, some people are in this, 25% of people are still in this category. They're like, man, I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed for this coming Christmas because I still owe stuff on last Christmas.
From 2022.
So if you are, it would be very explainable why someone would think, I can't keep my sanity. I can't be focused in the season because I'm still focused on the last season and how I overspent on the last season.
And then it's going to pile on.
Oh,
and then it's going to pile on.
snowball
So
effect, yes.
this is something, if you want to keep your focus.
Yep.
And if you're a follower of Christ, you have a focus. You know
Absolutely.
what you're wanting to please Christ. You're wanting to celebrate Him. You're wanting to do family. You're wanting to do all these things. You're wanting to live according to how He calls us to. So, with all that in mind, you don't have to overspend. In fact, I would say avoid overspending this Christmas.
In something that we've talked about is you literally, some may say, well, I have to. Here's the thing. You don't have to buy for everybody, right?
Yes.
You don't have to buy for every person. I don't know. Where did we come up with this idea that every person needs a gift, and not only that, but every person needs a crazy gift? That's really a fallacy. We don't have to fall into that.
Yeah, so I think there's some real practical things that you can set up to keep your focus, to keep your sanity by not overspending is just refuse to go into debt.
Yep.
So how do you do that? How do you refuse to go into debt? You look at what you've got right there. You budget out your month. You budget out if you haven't come into December saving some things, setting aside, you look and you say, this is what I have to spend, and this is all I'm going to spend. There are a lot of ways to make the dollar, stretch. I mean, who said you always have to buy new things? Who said you have to buy 40 presents for everybody? You don't. Your kids, honestly, what are we teaching our kids when we're giving them 40 presents on one day? Are we really teaching them the real reason for the season? I know that was like a total Jesus juke, but I believe it. I actually really believe that. This is something that I live by. I literally refuse to go crazy. Now, do my kids open gifts? Yes.
Absolutely.
Is the tree full? Sure. But we're not, I'm not going into debt to pay for this. And I'm also being mindful that they don't have to open everything on a Christmas morning. There is an entire year to show how valued they are, to give gifts, to speak love languages about that. But I would just say refuse to go into debt. And I also think simplify that gift giving. You mentioned it.
Yep.
You don't have to give to everybody. You know what? You can write a thoughtful homemade card with a homemade cookie and give that as a gift. This is totally acceptable.
Here's the problem with that, because for you,
that's a gift.
That would be a gift. Can I just tell you, if I made you a homemade cookie, that wouldn't be a gift.
It's the thought that counts.
So I'd say, think about your strengths a little bit on that. But no, I think that's. I know we make fun of it, but it's so wise, because we don't have to spend money for something to be a gift, or I would say even a lot of money. It is what's the thought behind it? What's the creativity behind it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think about one of our kids one year gave coupons like, hey, I'm going to, clean my room, with you. Well, they should clean my room all the time. But, I don't even remember all the things. They came up with that idea. Thoughtful. Here's a way to simplify the gift giving. And this is just something that Jeff and I have set up as a tradition, as a way to simplify. See, I was getting overwhelmed with Christmas, leading a church, leading a family, doing all of these things that, you just have a lot coming at you. You've got the Christmas programs and all of this. Man. And I was feeling a little overwhelmed. And so one of the ways that we tried to simplify this is we took one day off. We took a vacation day, a PTO, whatever you call it, PDO, whatever you call it at your place of employment. We took an entire day off and we made a day of it. It was actually, It's actually something I look forward to.
I love this day.
We start it really early. We go and we do all of our Christmas shopping in one day. It is a marathon day. It absolutely is. I make a list. A little bit, as much as I can. Like, I'm not really a list person. You are more the list person.
I'm a list person.
You kind of sometimes make the list. I don't know. I like to just roll and see what happens. But we go and we get all of our gifts in one day, come home, wrap them, and put them under the tree. And it takes an entire day, but it is done.
But when we do this, though, we're doing a couple of things. We're purchasing gifts for our family and for our kids. But you and I are
having
hanging
fun
out together. You have to go have coffee.
I know,
we're having coffee. We're spending time together. So yeah, it's stuff we have to do, but we're actually also spending time together. Again, like you said, I look forward to that day every year because it's like, wow, we get to go out and do this. It's a lot of work. I don't want to.
Right. And does everybody have to do it that way? No. We're giving you ideas, though. Yeah. But if every day is consumed with spending time on the internet, on the iPad, trying to figure out what to get while your kid's over here playing, we might be doing it wrong. Yeah. We might be doing it wrong. We might be focused more on the gift rather than our presence.
Can I just tell you help me out on this a lot because you have a way of doing things that you can just do things quick. And I'm going to say why in a little bit. I'm just going to say it, full disclosure, I tend to obsess over certain things. I know we've never spoken about that. I know that's a shocker.
True confessions.
But I think if left to my own devices, I would stretch that day into weeks and months because I'd be, is the person that I'm giving this for, are they really going to like it? And you don't obsess. You want people to like the gift, of course. But what this also does, this requires you not to obsess and to think about the main thing. And let's not obsess over who's going to like it, but let's obsess over our heart behind the gift.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking on anybody who takes, months to buy their gifts.
Oh, that happens, yeah.
And I understand, if that works for you. But I would really wonder, I've talked to a lot of people who've done this, and they end up losing gifts in their home, and they can't find them. They forgot where they placed them, and then all of a sudden they're spending more time trying to store or find these gifts, or man, if I would have just bought this on Black Friday, I could have saved $2. Now, this is coming from somebody who likes to save money a lot. I like to do that. But sometimes your sanity is worth the $2.
It's way worth it.
It's worth it. And so keeping your sanity in focus by refusing to overspend, just think about the end result. Your kids don't want you stressing about paying for their Christmas in January, February, and March. So if you can't afford it in December, don't buy it.
That's good.
There we go. Okay, so avoid overspending.
Yes.
Number two,
avoid overcommitting. This is a big deal too because with Christmas and the Christmas season and the whole holiday season comes a whole lot of schedules. You said it: church, family, parties, and just a whole
concerts,
bunch of
sports.
Concert. If you have kids in school, there's Christmas parties, there's Christmas everything. Avoid overcommitting. And I think on this, you have to figure out what your priorities are and stick to those. This is where your goals as a family, your goals as a married couple, those are huge in determining what you're going to commit to and really what you're not going to commit to. It's okay to say we can't attend that.
Right.
It's okay to say, we can't do that. And here's why. Because we're at 5 things, 6 things the week before, and we can't do that this week. So.
Yeah, and I think that's so huge. You're just going to have to come back to your priorities. Because I think sometimes when I would hear something like this, what I'm hearing is like, oh, so you don't want to do anything? No.
When there's a pendulum swing.
Yeah, I really, I mean, this isn't the season just to hibernate and to not be involved. I think it's really good to be involved in things. Some would probably accuse me of being over-involved. Cues on, But really, it's setting up priorities. This comes back to life. I mean, it just gets amplified in Christmas, but it's really just life. What are you committed to? And so in this season, it's not the right thing to say, oh, well, you're right. We are too busy. I'm not going to go to church at all in the month of December.
Which people...
This is a common thing.
People do that. I can't do that. So church is the thing that goes off. And I want to also kind of think about, once again, we've said it already, but what's the reason for really why we're celebrating?
Well, but if we have our priorities... If we have our priorities listed, if we say these are that helps us make decisions.
Yes.
So if we have our priorities correct, we will not say, oh, I'm not going to go to church in the month of December. Like, that would not be if our priorities are correct. We would say things like, oh, I'm not sure I can go to that Christmas party because we want to be involved in the Christmas Eve service. Or I'm not sure I can go to this family function because this is a priority.
Because remember, it's what gives this, what gives this season meaning. It's the absolute, I don't want to Jesus juke anybody, but the presence of Christ gives this entire season meaning. And if we get that backwards, we will, I promise you, I guarantee you, we will end up depleted.
Yeah, we'll think Macy's is what gives us our the deals there, or
yes.
I don't even know if you go to Macy's. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Kohl's, whatever. This is, and that's not what this season is about.
Correct.
And if we get our priorities mixed up, we will overcommit, or we'll commit to the wrong things. I think even overcommitting, one of the things, and these are sometimes we have to say no to really good things.
Yeah.
Things that they're not bad. But one of the ways we've done this, and again, you may want to, check your own family priorities, but we have made it we are not going to commit to going anywhere on Christmas morning other than being at home.
Yeah. That's important to us.
That is an important value to us as we are developing memories that our kids are going to remember forever. This is going to be how they can set up their own family traditions when one day we're cheering them on and not necessarily in that, I don't know, the mode of making those decisions. I will want my kids to have their family time at their house as well. And so, I think we're just, you got to decide, I'm not going to go to all these things because I'm going to make these memories with my kids.
Well, I think that morning of Christmas, it's a powerful time just to be together, wake up we like it, waking up in our own home. We're not worried about traveling, all the stress that comes along with that. Open gifts. We'll wake up crazy early because our kids could, and we just want to do that in our own environment.
And I just think making those core memories, saying this is something that we're committing. We're showing you kids that you don't have to overcommit. You don't have to wake up in a hotel room. You can wake up in your home celebrating Christmas. And so, so avoid overspending, avoid overcommitting. But number 3, avoid overeating. And I know it's like, ooh, why'd you go there? Is this going to be a gluttony podcast?
Somebody thought we just ruined a good thing, maybe. But, I think we need to think about something huge when it comes to even just what we consume. I tell you what, I love cinnamon rolls. Around the holiday season, I'll have pies and things like that. So this is not a podcast. This is really not like this podcast of, just boycott sugar over the holiday season.
And eat carrots over holiday.
No, this is not that. However, I think a good question to ask is, what are you connecting to over this Christmas season? And oftentimes what we find out is we connect to food rather than to people. Now, food is a way that we can connect with each other. Yes. But if we're, I would say sometimes
the idol.
Food is an idol. Food can be an idol where food kind of leads the holiday. What are we having is what kind of takes priority rather than connecting with others. And when food is an idol, things get backwards, things get stressful, and all that.
So when we say avoid overeating, this is not a caloric intake suggestion. Like, okay, if you eat 2,200 calories, you've gone into the over. Okay, that is not what this starts. I am even personally hesitant to even talk about this a little bit because this is personal experience. I'm just letting you into what I have personally experienced. I've personally experienced lots of people saying, you need to preach on gluttony. I'm so sick of people just being gluttonous or whatever, and living in gluttony. It's the sin that's never talked about. Come to find out, like, they're living in deep, dark sin of, like, I mean, seriously, like, affairs, drug abuse, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, why are you on this when, you got all this going on in your life? So
absolutely, yeah.
I'm just like literally jumping all in and letting you into you. Even the whole idea of that, like, oh, should I talk about this?
Well, because gluttony can be a pet topic for people who are really burying other things. I mean, like, and so, yeah, we're hesitant to talk about that, but it's a little thing that we need to talk about.
No, right. And so I just want you to hear our heart, but like, this is the thing. You can make food a god, just like you can make the presents a god or the money a god. Is money bad? No. Is buying presents for your kids bad? No. Is overspending bad? Yeah. Is eating food at Christmas that you maybe normally wouldn't, like cinnamon rolls or pies or things, is that bad? No.
Absolutely not.
I mean, look at the Bible. There's feasts.
Yes.
But is it possible to serve that?
Yes.
Yes. So we can avoid that this year. Maybe it's setting up some guidelines. Hey, I'm going to have desserts at this function or on this day, but I'm not going to have it every day going up to that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's setting up some boundaries. Maybe it's setting up some fasting days. I think there are a whole lot of ways. Maybe it's saying, hey, I'm going to do this, and then in January I'm going to, reset for a fast for 21 days. I don't know.
Right, recognize the world of extremes we live in. We're living in extremes, like where the world says, go all out right now, and that same world profits off us when they say, oh, buy this exercise plan. Let's not live. I think just get off the extremes.
Yeah.
I think it's huge, and don't overeat. Yeah.
Okay. And last one on the over. So avoid overspending, overcommitting, overeating, and over-idolizing this season. Over idolizing, either making it this like ideal situation.
Refuse to buy into the myth that everything has to be perfect. That your Christmas season has to resemble the Hallmark Channel, or you just have to have every gathering needs to be just exactly how you dream of it. I think when we do that, we're not accounting for life. We're not accounting for, what if somebody, no fault of their own, what if a child gets sick and dashes your Christmas hopes, or, things like that.
Strep throat enters the key.
Absolutely. We're not saying check your expectations at the door and have zero expectations, because that's the other extreme. We're simply saying, don't make this picture of your perfect Christmas the focus of season.
Literally, it's like idealizing something, making that an idol.
Yes. Yep.
And so I think we can get really into that when we watch all these Hallmark shows and we think, if it doesn't snow just like that and the sleigh doesn't come up and my hair is going in the wind, I know that sounds crazy, but we can get these ideas of how it should be. I've been in these pressure cooker situations. Make sure you look right. Take the picture. Everybody smile. Get together. Stop. Look happy. And
look like the perfect family. This is going on the Christmas card.
This does not have to be that way. This does not have to be a pressure cooker.
Yes.
In fact, I would say just avoid it.
Yeah.
Now, how can you do that? Set up some real family traditions, some real measurable, fun family traditions that if something goes awry, like you just enjoy it. I think we have some of those that we've set up. We go and see the lights in this one park every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get some cocoa. We could make it at home. We could stop by a coffee shop and get it. It doesn't really matter. It's not about how the cocoa tastes or if all the lights are not even that cool. It's just a memory
that we're doing it together.
Yeah. And if it rains, we still do it. It's not going to ruin the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some things that you could say. Guess what? Here's one that we've done, and I'm just giving you ideas. But we have a couple of trees in our house. One of them, our daughter, even just recently, decorated all on her own from things that she collected and got. And is it something that you would put on the front of a magazine, like Architectural Digest or something? No. Is it beautiful? Yes.
Oh, she was looking forward to it. It was so awesome.
Taking ownership in that.
Absolutely.
And also, I want her to learn. This isn't about my tree looking perfect for an Instagram story.
This isn't mom or dad's Christmas.
This is all of ours. And so it's involving your kids, giving them ownership. Yes. It does not have to be perfect. Mm-hmm. If you want to go buy the matching pajamas and take a picture,
which
great.
We've done that too.
We've totally done it.
I've gone out in public, in restaurants, with matching pajamas. Hey, I've enjoyed it. People look at us.
We have pictures to prove it.
Pictures to prove it.
Right. But if it becomes the stressor, I think what it is really what's the idol? If it becomes an idol, if it becomes something that if this does not go perfect, I'm going to be angry.
If a store does not have your matching pajamas and you feel like that's going to throw Christmas over the edge, that's
right.
That's not probably is not in its right spot.
And I love all the things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if they become the thing that's throwing you into debt or throwing you into stress, then they're not in their proper place. And so that's what we're just saying. Here's the deal. You can keep your sanity.
Yes, you can.
You can keep your focus.
Yep.
Jesus can be first in this season. I mean, he should be.
Yeah. And what we'll find out is this goes back to everything we say. When he's the center, everything else is kept together. Mm-hmm. When he's the center of our life, but also our season, our Christmas season, our celebrations, we're going to find out that there's more joy. We're going to find out that at the end of the celebrations and all the work that goes, because there's a lot of work that goes into the parties and all this stuff, we're going to feel encouraged and not depleted. We're going to feel energized and not depleted if Christ is the center. But once he's removed from the center, once money's in there or the celebrations or the food is in there, things go awry really fast. And we're just saying, you know what? Keep him in the center.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
And we're
keep him in the
absolutely center. And you know what? Everything might not go as planned.
Probably won't. But if it does, hey, awesome.
I mean, that's a wonder. I mean, enjoy the season. Just make it a priority that guess what? You're going to sit down with your spouse, or you're going to sit down even with your kids, or you're going to say, okay, hey, here's how we're going to plan out to enjoy this time. Yeah. We're not going to make it a stressful thing that I just hope to survive. We're going to enjoy this season. And, I just want to encourage you to do so. Yeah. I want to encourage you that it doesn't have to be the way that it's always been.
Yeah. We want to encourage you, keep your sanity, keep your focus this Christmas. This is a great time of year. Mm-hmm. This is an incredible time of the year where you can celebrate with family what Christ came to do for us. And so, hey, take a moment to share this podcast, rate and review on app, do all the stuff. Let someone know about this. Our prayer that this season, this month, it's not the most stressful as it is for many, but for you and your family, it'd be the most life-giving of the year. So we're so excited. Can't wait to see you right here on the next episode of the Not On My Watch podcast. We will see you then.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Not On My Watch podcast. You are a watchman for this time and hour. Don't forget to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you listen. If you haven't already, head on over to our website, www.notonmywatch.co, for more resources from Jeff and Rochelle. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time on the next episode. But until then, keep watchful.